Hey guys, I got a pretty cool one for you today. This one actually, it took me a little while to get into, but now I finally have and I really appreciate it. Not like, oh, I thought it was whack or something, this is junk. There's just a lot of dope hip hop out there, and there's a lot of, kind of average to mediocre hip hop. So if something doesn't grab you right away, or at least me speaking for myself, kind of tend to dismiss it, don't really think about it, just move on to something else. It does grab me right away, and I do get really excited about. And this one, so, I had, because it's a New Jersey thing, and I listened to it, and I'm like, okay, it's cool, it's fine, it didn't really, blow me away, put it away, didn't really think about it, but every once in a while, sort of would see it in the corner of my eye, and then I really got into it, actually, when I started bumping it in my car, and I said, oh, okay, actually, I really appreciate this. What I'm talking about is Swift Wisdom, straight from New Jersey. This is a 2001 release. Originally, this is a re-release I'm holding right here, but originally came out in 2001. Very little is known about him. He's from New Jersey, obviously, as the title says. But it's put out by his producer, Keith Science. And he's a guy with a long track history. He's put out a lot of records and CDs and produced a lot of stuff. So he's really known, and this is something he did way back in the days. Originally, there's only like 50 copies released. They said they basically just kind of gave it out to friends and stuff. So it's a super, super obscure release. But it's been re-released a couple of times, and this is the latest one from Hip Hop Enterprises just this year, 2022. So I guess the reason why I sort of didn't get into it right away necessarily is because, well, it opens, first of all, with sort of like a punchline rap kind of stuff. It's sort of very 90s throwback. I mean, it's not quite from the 90s, from 2001. So it's a little late for that 90s style. And so all the kind of punchlines, he's got some good punchlines. He's also got some average kind of mediocre kind of cornier ones, I got a fat crib like an overweight baby. The first song especially is kind of very punchline heavy. And so because that didn't really blow me away and feels a little bit dated, that's part of what, kind of put me off necessarily. But he does have skills. He is talented. He's not like Eminem, but he is, he has some really nice lines as well. And also some varied writing.
Lines I drop, yo, you can't get with these. I'll end your career and have you working at Mickey D's. On the mic, I drop science and math. You'll catch a foot right up your ass. Size 9.5. Lyrically, this kid's sick. I might be skinny as hell, but bitch, I got a big dick. Niggas know my steed and farming lands. I take on the hardest man and leave him in the garbage can. I grab the microphone with plenty of muscle. I kick a verse and have your mom doing the 70s hustle. And my closet got stupid gear. So many holes on my dick, there ain't no room for pubic hair. I step in and make my presence felt like a drunk ass pops beating niggas with a leather belt. I'm the man kids love to imitate. Fuck Pokemon for Christmas, they want my demo tape. You ain't live, you're telling me job. I've been the bomb since I came out my mom back in 75.
This is how it should be done. This style is identical. This is how it should be done. This style is identical to us.
So that's the opening song. It's fine, it's cool, it's got some really nice production. It's got a scratch hook by his DJ Uncut Raw, who does cuts on all the songs, or almost all the songs. The production on here is really strong. Keith Science is a talented guy, and this is sort of like kind of a nice, subtle, but dark, but not super dark. Like sometimes you get into that kind of stuff like later era Mobb Deep and KA and that kind of stuff, where it's just like all deep bass notes and kind of gets kind of monotone, and and that's cool. There's a place for that. I mean, but this doesn't go that far instrumentally, although it kind of does go that far lyrically. But like I said, it's varied writing. So actually, Straight from New Jersey is one of the best written pieces.
This is for my niggas and all the baddest villains who hustle out of abandoned buildings and gamble millions. Back in the day it was blazing, stabbing cats. Now in 2000s, bags of crack and automatic gas. Jersey's full with hard cats that lust for more cash, so they do carjacks and sport acts. Niggas will kill you for they loot stacks. So what if the cops got Glocks? We gonna shoot back. Highways are used to transport weight and keys. Watch out for the state police, they got racial beefs, and they be catching niggas all day. Make a mistake and catch a long stay at Broadway. Snakes will hug you and make you think they love you. Wait for you to bubble, then rush you and take your shine from you. I know it sounds unfair and dumb, but that's where I'm from, so stay the fuck home if you scared to come. In my day, I seen a lot of men lay victims of the street, straight from NJ. Straight from NJ. Straight from NJ. Straight from MNJ.
And then especially when you get into his next song, My Side of the Story, which is sort of a very personal kind of rap, just sort of about his history from his childhood growing up and his whole life story. He spent time in jail. He came out. He became a rapper, but just like stuff he talks about how, like, you know, as a little small kid at 5 years old, they had him fighting with his, like, physically fighting with his friends and kids he had no beef with. And also like that kind of stuff, these kind of elements and these touches are really smart and really effective and really add to this piece, which then coupled with this really kind of, again, it's subtle production, which is maybe why it also didn't immediately catch me right away. Like, holy shit, what's that sample kind of thing. But when you pay attention and just kind of ride along to it, it is all really dope and effective. And this is just an EP, but it's a full 8 songs with the bonus track, so it's pretty in-depth. It's pretty substantial. I mean, 8 songs is longer than some old school albums. Next track is MTU, which is Posse Cut, which is just 3 guys, L-Flex, Afterbirth, and Troop. And they're all pretty nice, too. They're all kind of on similar level. And they appear also a couple other points throughout the EP, and they're all pretty fun. MTU is where it starts really sort of like gangster rap and sort of really kind of over the top, like sort of like think of like the Ghetto Boys and stuff, where they took like what would be maybe gangster rap to the over top, almost horrorcore level, you know, where they're talking about like murder and rape and killing people with sledgehammers and hooks to the face. They go there, so it gets to that kind of extreme stuff. But MTU has kind of like a slightly more playful, upbeat beat, like not like a, you know, Kwame and a New Beginning kind of beat, but fairly upbeat for this kind of track, which is kind of a nice play off of it and all. So it's all kind of really effective. It's all like instantly kind of head nodder stuff, but then as you listen to it, there's more and more to it. There's a lot of stuff that works. Again, sometimes a line or two is corny. These are younger guys. This is their first and only release, but surprisingly consistent all the way through. He's got one verse on a track, I think it was Breaking Backs, which is very, you know, appropriate for Halloween, kind of horror movie themed, where he talks about fighting like Freddy Krueger and going to the Amityville house.
Take these words home and think it through, or the next rhyme I write might be about you. When I know, I bring you back with my rap like smack, because I'm all that.
I bring it to your grill for real, so you better chill. I serial kill, talk shit, and your blood spill. Cause my crew be wild.
Yo, Swift,
what up?
Break it down, horror movie style.
Freddy Krueger tried to cut my spleen. I smacked his ass in the head and told him snap out that fucking dream. I'm living sorta trife. I bring Amityville horror and have Jaw swimming for his life. All them cats I burned to shambles. Poltergeist invaded my TV, I just turned the channels. Jason Voorhees, that little fake. I went to Camp Crystal Lake and blew his brains out with my nickel plate. Cause I never been a coward. I checked in the Bates Motel and stabbed Norman in the shower. So don't dare try us. On Halloween, I dissect Michael Myers with a pair of pliers. My crew will hardly fall. I do shit that make Chucky look like a Barbie doll. I'm the bomb when it comes to making tracks, and I'm breaking backs.
Take these words home and think it through, or the next rhyme I write might be about you.
But otherwise, it's not hardcore. It's like, you know, like I said, kind of over top gangster rap kind of stuff, you know, but it's not horrorcore at all. And actually, it's one or two of the MTU guys who almost push that limit more than Swift Wisdom does.
Yeah, MTU 2K1 representing Afterbirth, said it all.
You can never be as slick as me. I got my balls on a motherfucking Christmas tree. I got this one bitch pregnant and I ain't even care. Cause when she turned her back, I push her fat ass in a flight of stairs. That's how I'm living, money fucking foul. I shoot without looking and have whole crowds ducking down. My crew's full of villains and dirty crooks who wouldn't hesitate to stab you in the face with a meat hook. And yesterday I wish I had a camera. You should've seen me beating this kid's head in with a sledgehammer. I ain't the type to hit a bitch, I'ma hurt my fist. I'd rather break her ribs with a wooden stick. I'm about as evil gets. After having sex, I'll grab a knife and slice the bitch neck. I leave my foes disposed in ditches with so many sutures that they loop the stitches. Listen, my first shot rarely misses, and I'm a bigger dick than the Grinches on Christmas. Approaching bitches with hopes to get my dick licked. About 6 sandwiches short the full picnic. Still stuck in psychiatrics. I hate you fucking bastards. Keep latching on that burlap jacket strapped up backwards. I don't give a fuck. I'm still the sickest lyricist, suffering from several separate severe mental illnesses. The only sane solution, don't be fooled by the illusion. Dirty Jersey's not a state, it's a fucking institution. My murderous movement, plus I'm fluent. God couldn't even prove it. Surely I could surgically remove your body fluid.
My rhymes are fortified with clash, sharp like broken glass, smoking grass, butt fucking models in the ass.
Like, there's a song called Call Me Evil. Guess what that's about? And obviously kind of uses the Biggie Small samples. Actually, some of the samples they scratch up are kind of obvious, but that's fine because they sound great and they're kind of classic, obvious choices, and they it's exactly what you would want, basically. It's not necessarily trying to blow your mind and trick you. But then there's a song like Still It Rains, which I thought, this is much more like a piano heavy thing. It's a bit like sadder and more personal rap. And, first I think, oh, okay, this is just sort of like his, his version of like Biological Didn't Bother. Sort of about a friend who he lost, to the street life and stuff. But then again, when you get into the details of the writing and all, like production wise, it's maybe one of the weaker tracks, like because of that kind of piano thing for the sad track sort of sounds a little bit more generic. But lyrically, it's smarter, it's more clever, it's more engaging, and that's what lifts it up to a higher level. So you start to really feel it, even though you might say, oh, like Asher did, like, oh yeah, sure, we've heard these things a million times, but this one's just done a little bit better. Then the bonus track is called No Hooks. This bonus track because it wasn't on the original CD way back in 2001, which you can't get anyway. And it's fine. It's definitely not the best one. Instrumentally, it's sort of the least interesting. It's sort of more upbeat. It's sort of a little less engaging. Sounds a little bit more loopy. And it's nobody's best verses. Again, it's fine. Nobody's coming whack or anything. But you can see why they left it off the original release. And you can kind of see why they said, okay, we got this laying around. Let's throw it on now. And it actually, like the title suggests, has no hooks, as opposed to like, that Shaq Fu one where, with Method Man and all, where they're going, no hooks, we ain't got no hooks in between all the verses, to the point where you're like, that actually qualifies as a hook, that you keep repeating it in this kind of catchy, ever-changing way. This one literally has no hooks. It just kind of has silence in the breaks. But otherwise, it's dope. The whole EP is dope. It has some highlights, like I said, Straight from New Jersey, My Side of the Story, MTU, but the whole thing is dope. And it's just a nice, solid, tight EP, even with the bonus tracks. There's also, at the end of the CD, like a hidden extra bonus track, which is just like a really short instrumental. Not one of the instrumentals from one of the songs that you already hear. It's just a new instrumental, presumably also by Keith Science, that's kind of thrown there at the end. So really solid kind of value for the EP. There's only like 150 of these pressed up from Hip Hop Enterprises. And there is also a vinyl, which does not have a picture cover. And that, last I checked, which I did just recently, is still available. I think it's on Keith Science's Bandcamp. So you can still get that too. Get the vinyl or the CD. Either way, it's definitely worth getting. Like I said, it's the kind of thing where you don't necessarily jump out at you right away, but the more you give it, a chance, the more it grows with you, and then you really start to appreciate it. So check it out. Swift Wisdom, Straight from New Jersey, 2001/2022. Oh, and he does have one other sort of vinyl appearance, because Keith Science also put out another 12-inch at around the same time of sort of lost unreleased stuff by a guy he was working with called Manchild, and Swift Wisdom has like a guest verse on that 12-inch. So there's a little bit more, but basically this EP is the whole story, and it's a really good one.
Through the eyes of a sinner, since I was born I can remember always feeling special and destined to be a winner. I went through extremes to prove shit. At age 5, my cousins had me fighting kids I was cool with. I collected some knots and scars. I used to stand on the side of the road and throw rocks at cars. I was a badass, always talking mad trash, taking sips of brew while sitting on my dad's lap. I couldn't wait to grow up and start bar fights. I thought I was the shit and got hit by a car twice. I desired some attention. My mom smacked me in the head for starting a fire in the kitchen. My life was far from tired and boring, so pay attention to my side of the story.